I've got a CAD model opened up here on my screen, and I'd like to do some measurement with some home-in points to the surface of this dish. But what I'd like to do is I would also like to measure the points that my client has measured with their CMM. So what I've asked him for is a text file of all of his XYZ points that he has touched off on with his CMM. And I have got that open here in my Excel program. And notice what I've got is a column that identifies the name of the point. And then I've got a column here that's the X component, and then a column of Y and a column of Z. I don't have any header on this data here. I've actually taken that out of this file since I don't want to import that header information. All right, so let's go back over here to CAM2 Measure. And then what I'd like to do is I would like to overlay those points directly on this CAD model. Now the only way to really accomplish that is to make sure that this CAD model coordinate system and the text file that I'm going to be pulling in is located in the same exact coordinate system. So let's go up to the File pull-down menu and let's go Import XYZ Data. Now notice I'm going to go to this label that XYZ In, since I do have a column that are my labels for each of the points. But I've also got a module that's going to talk about the difference between XYZ In and the label XYZ In. So make sure you pull that up too to see the difference. But what I'd like to do is make sure that the point ID actually comes with those points. So I'll go to the label, the XYZ In, and then notice what I've got is it's going to look for a file type that's a data file, a .dat, but I want to go find my text file. So there it is right there. I'll double click on that. Now notice what comes up. In this dialog box here, Faro wants to pull all the XYZ data in, but it's noticing some column separation from that file. So what we have to do is tell it where to start that column. All right, what I usually do then is I come down to this XYZ values, start at character. So I click on that radio button there. So what I'll do here is I'm just going to tell Faro what character is going to start my numerical value for the component of X. The only way that this is going to actually work is that the characters before the X component have to have the same exact number of alphanumeric characters. So I'll just go up here and I'll show you. If you look in this column here, this is the file view that Faro's actually seeing out of that text report. Notice the point ID is CMM underscore 0.001. Okay, so that number of characters there, it looks like 9 characters. I've got 3 for CMM, 4 for the underscore, plus then I've got another 5 characters that are going to be after that. So all of those points are going to have the same number of characters in the point ID. All right, well that's the only way that this is going to work, because the file view is showing me that the 10th character then is where I'm going to start my X component. So let's go here and just go 10. Okay, now notice I've got the label. As soon as I hit that 10, I've got the label that shows up here, CMM 0.001, plus a little character here. I'm not quite sure what that is, but what I've got here is the 330, X component 275, so all of those X components are showing up now in that column. What I will do though is I'm going to try and put in the number 9 to see if it gets rid of that little character there. It might be a space that came through. There might have been an extra space in there. I'll put the 9 in front and delete. Okay, now that looks a little bit cleaner. So it's asking me the XY value to start at character 9. Okay, well then I'll say OK to that. And then it automatically asks me, hey, I'm pulling in text. Are those measured features? Are they nominal features? Or are those constructed features? Well, I'm going to pull those in as nominals and say OK. Now look what I've got. I've got all of these in point format from that X, Y, and Z text file, and they're just laying right on that surface. I'll even dynamic rotate around a little bit here. Click on one of the points to rotate around. Now notice all those points just lay right on that surface there. And I'll even prove it to myself one more time too by just doing a dimension length point to surface. Now I'll pick up on just some random point from the screen. Okay, it happens to be CMM.088 because my labels actually came through with it. And my surface then will be this patch right here. I've got two faces. I've got two sides of material that have come through that file. So it's one of those sides. My guess is it's this side here. So I'll click on that. It's going to name it Surface 1. I'm just going to hit the View here because I don't want to commit to that measurement. So what I've got is 0.0001, a tenth of a micron of deviation between my surface patch and the text file XYZ point here that I've pulled in. So that's pretty doggone close. My guess is that 0.0001 is coming from the rounding error coming out of that text file. Well, that's awesome. I do like that. So I'm going to cancel out of that. Now I've proven to myself that that point is actually in the location it needs to be. And if I go to my review features, notice that all of those points now have populated in review features. So perfect. That's what I like. I like a point ID number, and I like an XYZ to correlate to it. So if I wanted to view that, okay, that point seems to be right out here on that surface. Perfect way. Now when I start going into Measure, Point, Home In Point, which is a different module, so be sure to look at that module as well, because home in points are a very repeatable way to be accurate with measurements on repeated measures from part to part.